Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Justin Rose has done it so many times in his career. That's like he's so good at everything. There's nothing that he's bad at. You know, every part of his game is at close to a elite level when it's good. And so when he had it going on this week, he's not scared, dude. When he gets that look in his eye, watch out.
The Smiley Show, only on
If you don't like getting hit, you can't do BKFC point blank.
Oh, absolutely. Like in the MMA world, you have opportunities to negate getting hit more so than BKFC. You can get a takedown, you can secure a dominant position where you're less likely to get hit, and even if you are getting hit, you're less damaging because of your position.
Combat Sports Report, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here with you on SportsGrid on a Friday night. Kevin Walsh, as we have ourselves a fantastic Friday with not just a full Major League Baseball slate, but you add in 4 NFL preseason games, some WNBA action if you'd like, some updates around the Tour Championship, and of course, we are now less than 24 hours away from the start of the college football season, week 0. And here tonight on Game Time Decisions, I will give you my full card for week 0 involved in each and every game on that slate, including arguably the most important game that will take place over the first 2 weeks of this college football season, which is Kansas State and Iowa State, a ranked matchup in Ireland. And no, I'm not forgetting that we are loaded with top 10 battles in week 1, but a conference game in the Big 12 between K-State and Iowa State is going to matter down the stretch, tiebreakers, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see how the odds react. I'm on a side in that game, on a side for nearly every single one of these games. We're going to get you involved here on this Friday night. And before we get to the baseball card, and our team kind of, had helped put some of this together, with football beginning, it's a little harder to, Major League Baseball every day, right? So it's almost an opportunity to give some credit, some acknowledgement, and keep your mind remembering who's been good to you, who's been bad to you over the last month of Major League Baseball, over the last 30 days. Who has been good to the people if you were betting the money line? And it's not just record, right? But it's the profitability if you are betting that money line. It's who you would expect at the 3rd spot, maybe at the 4th spot, but 1 and 2, the A's and the Rockies. Anytime you cash a Rockies money line, it is a good day. The top 10 in order, it's the A's, the Rockies, the Brewers, the Royals, Orioles, Reds, Pirates, Marlins, Nats, Padres. You see the value of the last 30 days of getting the big underdog to the window, and I think that continues throughout the remainder of the Major League Baseball season. Who's been hurting the wallet over the last month of Major League Baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays, culprit number one. No surprise, the New York Mets not far behind. The Giants slot in between the Rays and the Mets to round out that top three. The remaining teams go the Rangers, Twins, D-backs, White Sox, Cubbies, Dodgers, and the Houston Astros, who did get the job done yesterday as a moneyline underdog against Baltimore. Would you believe the Houston Astros are a moneyline underdog once again against the Baltimore Orioles and Cade Povich? And would you believe that I like the Astros again? Yes, you would. I'm not betting them tonight because I felt it was almost a little gluttonous to be in on Houston again, but come on, man. Astros can't be moneyline dogs of the Baltimore Orioles. I just don't care. And then quickly, if we're looking for some juice, but who's been hitting overs over the last 30 days? Toronto, no surprise to see them at the top. That offense has been a big part of their success. The Brewers, when they score, it's in bunches. Rangers, Tigers, and Yanks are your top five. That top five is then rounded out in terms of the full 10. Angels, Red Sox, Braves, Rockies, and the Houston Astros. And that is, again, just a little bit of an idea what you have seen in the last 30 days of the Major League Baseball board. And, you know, any little bit helps because all this football's flying in. You might try and keep up to date with the baseball, with the W, whatever it might be. It's going to be tough. So you look to some of those trends, who's been paying out and who has not. Who's going to pay out tonight on this Major League Baseball board? Perhaps if you're looking to get involved early, you'll be betting either Pirates, Rockies, or Phillies, Nationals. Those games start within the next 10 or even less minutes. Some weather could delay the start in Pittsburgh. Neither of those games ultimately, though, were able to get me to the window. What did get me to the window on this Major League Baseball board tonight is the game that is labeled our main event, and that is Padres-Dodgers. That is Yu Darvish against Blake Snell in a race that the Padres entered. We talk about the top of the NL West in the most recent series, and we saw these teams go at it, right? We saw the Dodgers handle business in a big way. And that sweep put them right back on top. But then the Dodgers, instead of taking advantage with a 4-pack in Colorado, split. So the Padres gain a little bit of ground. And now you have a situation where the San Diego Padres feel incredibly live for this division. And because now the Padres are home, right? The Dodgers getting a sweep in their own building, but look at how the market has moved in this NL West. That number is so low on the Dodgers that when I had initially went to check in on our most recent numbers prior to this series, I thought maybe I would get a good Padre number. Silly me. I thought maybe the Dodgers' respect would be so massive that I might be able to snag a 4-1 on San Diego. It's more than half that number. Plus 195 on the Padres. Minus 260 on LA. I'm almost tempted on principle. I really am. But I can't get there because I like the Padres tonight. I think we're getting a good number on the San Diego Padres, who are 20 games over 500 at home this season, compared to a Dodgers team that is just scraping over the 500 mark on the road. Just gets there. And if it wasn't for their win in the final game against Colorado, they'd actually be under 500, which is just remarkable to think about with how good and dominant the Dodgers were supposed to be coming into this season. Yu Darvish versus Blake Snell is our matchup, and I think Yu Darvish is figuring it out, might be an every other start guy, and that's kind of what we're seeing. He had the 7 beautiful scoreless innings against the Mets, was only able to go 4, gave up 3 earned against the D-backs. Then he went 6 innings on the road against the Giants, only 1 earned run, a little shakier in that next outing against these Dodgers. I think he bounces back, and I think Blake Snell, while albeit someone who has been really, really good within the limited action he has seen for the Dodgers, I think there's vulnerability there, relatively speaking. At least enough to justify getting a plus price on the Padres in their own building. So that is exactly what I'm going to do, and that is play San Diego here at this number. Look, this is a spot where If you are the Padres, though, if you are somebody with a Padres ticket, it's got to be now. It has to be now in your own building. And I wonder if the Padres are able to win this series, if they're able to maybe return the favor with a sweep. I know that's a lot, but if they are, what does that do to the LA Dodgers' status within the World Series market? I can't imagine the Dodgers not being World Series favorites. It's hard to envision. But if they do not win the division, can a wild card team be the World Series favorite? Those are the questions that I ask myself entering into this one. Not the only game I'm going to get involved with. We're going to get you best bets, full baseball card, NFL preseason, the Brian Robinson Jr. trade. It's all here. It's a Friday night. It's Game Time Decisions. We'll be right back.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back here on Game Time Decisions on this Friday night. And let's go through the rest of the Major League Baseball board here. Scanned, went through it all, found a couple of spots, considered. Ultimately, though, landed on 4. We mentioned already that Padres money line in our main event. My favorite bet tonight, though, is a plus money opportunity to back one of the best pitchers in baseball. That's Nathan Eovaldi. Now, you might be thinking, whoa. They're not a dog. Certainly not. I'm going to lay the run line here with the Rangers. Did so at plus 136. Slade Ciccone is not very good, and the Guardians, it feels like that glass slipper has fallen off pretty quickly from a team who were red hot and then humbled in their own stadium by the Atlanta Braves, followed up by losing a series at the D-backs. I've started, I feel, to dabble in the run lines a little bit more, right? Elevate the plus price. It gives you a little more wiggle room if you're playing more at those plus prices there. And that's what I'm going to do with the Rangers here. I think they get the job done in a big way. With Nathan Eovaldi, we were talking about how he needed to almost be perfect. He was actually going to creep into that Cy Young race between Crochet and Skubal, and he got lit up at home by Arizona for 5. He followed up in his next outing, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned run against Toronto. The thing is, to give up 7 total runs in 2 starts, I think Eovaldi has another level to go. I think a shutout's legitimately on the board for him here in this spot against the Guardians. I'm happy to back Nathan Eovaldi. If you'd like another best bet, our guy Casino Chris, of course, has you covered with me here on this Friday. He's going to take a couple of alt-team totals, play them together. That's the Royals and the Cardinals, each over 2.5. You get a plus price there. I'll say, of course, I'll root him in, but I'm on the under overall in Tigers Royals. I think we're getting a nice number at 8.5. Casey Mize and Ryan Bergert, I think both should be getting a little bit more respect. This number, if it was 7.5, wouldn't have stunned me, not one bit. So I'm playing under Tigers Royals. This is a bigger series, by the way. We talk about how just the Guardians and that glass slipper got ripped off. KC kind of picked it up, and they are now the frisky AL wildcard team, ready to catch anybody who is dropping. They're 2 back of Seattle, 3 back of Boston. They've jumped the Guardians. When we talk about the teams that are outside looking in, it's a really big series for KC. Again, you don't need a sweep. You can't get swept. You'd love to pull off an upset. Here's why. You follow it up by going to Chicago, the White Sox for 3. Should be handling business there. Then you're going to bring these Tigers into your building for 3, and then the Angels, and then the Twins. There's a lot of games that you're going to see KC favorite or small dog. So they need to handle their business within this series. They avoid Skubal as well, which is key. We'll see what Kansas City's able to do. I'm under 8.5 in that game, and I'm under 9 in the matchup between the D-backs and the Reds. This one surprised me a little to see this number check in at 9. I think it's a good spot for Ryan Nelson. I think it's a good spot for Zach Littell. Ryan Nelson, in his most recent outings, gave up 9 runs over 2 starts. I see it as a bounce back. We've not seen Ryan Nelson have 3 really poor starts in a row for the D-backs. And look at these home road splits. Road ERA's above a 5. Home ERA's below a 2.5. So I think we're in a really good spot to back Nelson. I think Zach Littell's solid. I think he's been solid throughout the season. Cincinnati acquired him. And I think it's a good spot all in all for the Reds. I'll make note, by the way, we talk about the American League wild card race. We have a very real race now in the National League wild card between the Reds and the Mets. And so to reset the deck, in case you don't know, I have the Reds World Series ticket preseason. It was the only one I was willing to play, wanted to go deep down the board. And we did a Kevin 7 about 2 weeks ago at this point, I believe, on the best teams in baseball. And I thought of the Mets pretty favorably. I think it's a good baseball team. They are not playing like it. They have not been able to get out of their way. On July 27th, this team was 62-44, winning with incredible consistency. They had a 7-game win streak. It has really, really fallen apart since then. Again, a 62-44 record is now a 67-60 record. You can see it. I mean, since June 1st, my goodness, it's just been under. That's a long time to be playing under 500 baseball. That it really is. And the Mets are I've talked about, could I target the Mets? Could I target the Cubs? Get somebody a little bit closer up. The thing is, I'm at the benefit now. If somebody falls apart in the NL, it should be the Reds who swoop in. So it's a big series for the Mets, who go to Atlanta for 3, and they're starting this series off as a dog. And then the Mets are going to host the Phils, in their next series. So the Mets have to figure this out fast, because it feels like the Reds, it's starting to click a little bit. I feel like for Cincinnati, we'll see if that holds up. Also, I should acknowledge, I talked a lot about that Cubs-Brewers 5-game set. Could Chicago do some damage? The reality is, the monstrous win streak for Milwaukee made it all mute. It really did. The Brewers took the first game. Cubbies take the next 3. They go into the final one with Imanaga booked as a favorite. They lost. It's a bad loss. It is. Offense didn't show up. You got to hit Quinn Priester. You have to. Even if the Cubs won the game, they're 6 back. They could have took 4 consecutive off of Milwaukee and been 6 back. There's just nothing you can do there. There really isn't. So it's, Milwaukee is one of those teams that is going to beat respect out of you, right? If I had to redo Kevin 7 now, I could probably say I can't make an argument that there are 7 better teams than the Milwaukee Brewers. I can't make that argument. Am I betting Milwaukee to win a World Series? I'm not. Or is this team going to have home field advantage throughout? They're supposed to, which is, again, remarkable, the idea that the Brewers are going to have a better record than the Dodgers. We'll see how it all shakes up. But for me, I am still of the mindset. I'm giving them credit, but I will say I'm still of the mindset. Brewers winning, giving me better numbers on other NL teams, Cubs, Mets, even if the Dodgers, Padres, whatever it might be, Reds, that's what I'm going to look to attack. So I'm fine with the Brewers winning. Let's get some better numbers. Let's get off the baseball board. Let's get over to the NFL preseason slate here with you on a Friday night on Game Time Decisions.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, guys, back with you right here on a Friday night. Let's just recap a little bit of what we have got going on for you on this Friday night. The Major League Baseball board is about to get off and running. We have I'm involved with 4 games on that baseball board, but we've also got some NFL to get to. We're going to get to the Week 0 slate. I'll remind everybody, okay? We're going to do the Week 0 slate 7:30. So right here, full card involved in every game. I like betting Week 0. I do. It's completely different. It's unique, but you go off of your takes, your research, the work that you can put in. You figure it out. You find it out. You're going to be wildly wrong. You're going to be wildly right. Let's hope we're wildly right. We're going to get to that at 7:30. At 7 o'clock, 5 minutes, Mark Zinno. Big-time college football bettor, knows his stuff. We'll see what he likes for week 0. I'm curious if he's been involved in the national championship market at all. Because that is a market that we're going to be doing, of course, next week. Everything's going to be set up. And I am very excited to talk to Mark. At 7:12, all right, so about 15 or so minutes, Adam Kaplan joins us. He's been at Commanders Camp. That's why I'm holding off rushing into the Brian Robinson Jr. news. We're going to get there. We'll see what the word around Commanders Camp is. Big Show Bill, the rookie running back. Jacoski Merritt. A lot of excitement, of course, in Washington for the youngster. Could Chris Rodriguez out of Kentucky get involved? We're going to talk about it. Austin Eckler. This is all going to be relevant. Week 1 props. Here's the craziest part of it, right? Like the fantasy community's been really hot on the Merritt stuff, but is this a sneaky offensive rookie of the year candidate? We want to get Cap's thoughts on that. And what's going on with Micah Parsons? Deal not done. Week 1, Eagles-Cowboys, it's close. Less than 2 weeks away. And if Dallas enters that game without Micah Parsons, that's a line mover. It is. It has to be. As somebody who throughout the offseason has expected to be involved in that game, if I am on a side on Dallas catching a touchdown, most unbiased man history of sports media, not if Mike is out. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Now, if it flips 7.5, maybe a different conversation. But these are the things that we are continuing to try and get some updates on, and we're going to get it from Adam Kaplan, and then we will talk to Brady Cannon in about 45 minutes, his thoughts on everything going on in the Tour Championship. So just letting you know what is coming up, a lot of good stuff. NFL preseason, I nearly bet all 4 games. I pulled back. I was like, let's not go crazy, right? Because yesterday, I'm sat there, I'm holding 6.5 with Carolina, who should have ended that game early. Dave Canales comes out, right? It's a 3rd and 4 at about midfield. They pick it up. Fantastic. Out of the 2-minute warning, right? March. Try and score. Pittsburgh likely won't care. If you want to get cutesy, you could kick the field goal, onside kick it, but it's preseason, probably not. This loser organization runs the clock out to settle up for an 0-3 preseason run. And at that point, I'm putting most of the blame on Canales. Some of it's probably on me. It's week 3 preseason. That happens. Okay. So I didn't decide to bet all 4 games. Here's what I did do. I laid 2.5 with Dallas and the fighting Joe Miltons. Because Milton was supposed to be God's gift to the preseason. It's not really happened yet. But I think that's why we're getting a nice number here. All right? The Falcons are picking up quarterbacks off the street to complete this game. Give me Dallas laying 2.5. Give me the over 36.5, Tennessee, Minnesota. I expect to see Cam Ward for a bit. It's not been a lighted up preseason for Cam Ward. I think he needs to get himself a touchdown before getting out of there. Sam Howell's in a bounce back spot. Not great, Sam Howell, but he is. He should play. No reason he gets to sit on the sidelines. He's been atrocious. I think there's points over the 36.5. Titans, Vikings. Also, just hang a preseason banner for the Giants and Jackson Darks. That's all been incredible. The other quick notables, that Jets number went from 1.5 to 3 on Philadelphia. If I was betting that game, I'd take the 3 with the Eagles. The Jets don't have much of an advantage, if any, here in the quarterback room, quite frankly. And then Chiefs-Bears, I love that this thing's getting booked like an NFL game because Caleb Williams and Mahomes are going to play. The thing is, are they playing more than a drive? I was going to zag under, stayed away. Totals, 42.5, 43.5. Again, almost bet all 4 preseason games. Said, we got enough going on. There's real football tomorrow. Let's pull back a little bit there. Laying at 2.5 with Dallas. Over the 36.5 with Minnesota and Tennessee. Let's hit a break. Let's come back. Let's get Mark Zinno in the mix here. And let's get an idea. What is he doing with week 0 of the college football season? Has he found anything out in that national championship market just yet? Which, of course, starts with Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns, who open up at Ohio State. We'll talk about it all next right here on Game Time Decisions.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions here on a Friday night. Let's get right into it, folks. We bring in Mark Zinno, knows his stuff, betting the college football, but also involved in that Major League Baseball board. Mark, it's been too long. How we feeling?
Kevin, great to be with you, brother. It has been too long. Let's get right to the board, man. Feeling good.
Let's start then. Nats Phillies here. I know you were looking at this game. It's 3-0 already. Where were you when you were trying to figure out what to do with this one?
Well, look, you get a rematch of the 2 starters from last week in Taijuan Walker and Cade Cavalli. I like to play the opposite result when you get the exact rematch from a week ago. And in particular, Taijuan Walker's ERA at home was much different than it was on the road. It's much lower, as a matter of fact. And obviously, that's not going to be the case tonight, as he gave up a bomb early here. But this is also a Phillies team that can score a ton at home. You're talking about a team with the highest batting average at home, 5th most runs scored at home this year. So, it might be a little bit too late to jump on the over here since they pumped it up a couple of runs already on the live line. But, I thought Philly's first 5, laying the half run was the way to go, to be honest with you. Figuring that they would get to Cavalli. Hopefully they can scratch something back here, but they're definitively in a bad spot, needing 4 runs here in their first 5 at-bats.
Yeah, I like the Phillies offense within the game, so not your ideal start, not over just yet. What else on this Major League Baseball board, Mark, was jumping out to you?
Well, I looked at Detroit first 5 here with Casey Mize. Look, his numbers have been very good. A lot of people think his numbers are a little bit misleading. They are. He's probably not as good as 12-4 screams, but they're a 7-1 team. He gets nearly 6 runs of support per start. They're 15-6 with him on the mound this year. So let's just continue to play into that. The Royals have been hot as of late, but I think the Tigers bring them right back down to earth when you look at kind of what they do at home offensively and how poorly Kansas City is offensively in general, particularly on the road, and that the Tigers would, after sweeping Houston, would be okay at home here. So Royals a much different team out on the road, and I don't trust their offense. I think Detroit gets up early. I laid the half run in the first 5.
The big one on this baseball slate tonight, it's the Padres and the Dodgers. That Dodgers, for anyone who follows the market, which I know you do, Mark, minus 260 to win the division is shorter than any number I ever would have thought we would see at any point during this season. If they lose this series, it may go under minus 200. I tend to lean towards Darvish and the Padres tonight. What about you?
Again, another rematch, at least for Darvish, from Sunday when he pitched against Padres in a game where San Diego was trying to avoid the sweep. Now, Darvish has made 3 straight road starts here. This is another guy whose ERA is half of what it is at home than it is on the road. 3.52 at home, 7.66 on the road. And granted, he hasn't had a lot of starts here, only 8, but he's making his third consecutive road start. So, I'm sorry, he's making his first home start after 3 consecutive road starts. So I expect him to pitch really well. I take go on the money line here as a short underdog. You know, they were still minus 102, 105 in that range this morning when I grabbed them. But look, if San Diego doesn't win this game, because it feels like a must-win spot, they've lost 8 of 10 to the Dodgers this year. If they have any hope of taking this division away from them, this is the last time these two teams meet throughout the rest of the season. They don't meet at all in the month of September. So San Diego's got to feel the urgency here and get this first game.
The week 0 college football slate is in a weird spot for me because I want good games. There is an element of K-State, Iowa State where I'm like, whoa. I don't know if I need it to be that good because this game matters a ton. Because you have an actual battle between conference opponents, both ranked here. If you were to compare, it would be as if it's like Penn State and Oregon in terms of how important it is to the Big 12. Obviously, it's not that caliber of game, but it's so important. And the Big 12, is probably going to still project to only get one team in, Mark. So how are you handling such an important week 0 game?
Well, the thing that stood out to me, look, you ever make a bet early, feeling like you were going to get ahead of the market?
Oh, yeah.
And then the market goes in the other direction?
Big time.
That's me in this game. I took the first half under in this game because, look, both of the teams traveled Wednesday night overnight. They got there on Thursday. So they've only been there for one full day to adjust to the time, the weather, the schedule, and everything else that's going to be completely different for them. Neither of these teams have ever played an international game. Well, I should say Kansas State played one back in 1992. Iowa State's never played an international game. All of that involved in here with zero warm-up factor, with zero, here's my first cupcake that I can fine-tune things. Both of these teams defensively are pretty good. I know they're both returning their starting quarterbacks, which, would lead to more offense, but neither one of these teams completed better than 58% of their passes last year. The weather in Ireland is always going to be a toss-up. It's never going to be all that great. Both of these teams run the ball better than they throw it. The first half under I grabbed was at 25.5, but this number keeps going up. And now I'm even seeing 26.5s out there in the first half. So the market is moving against where I am. I just have to hope that we get some, really slow starts from both of these teams, which, again, at 12 o'clock to us, 8 p.m. their time, I don't know. I mean, last year, it was kind of quirky between Florida State and Georgia Tech, how the first half ended shooting over. It was a total, I think they had a total of 18 points with 3 minutes left, and somehow that thing shot over with 3 minutes left in the first half.
All right, we'll take that right back there from Mark. We'll reset him and get the rest of his thoughts here on the week 0 slate. I'll tell a quick story, though, to Mark's question of if you ever think you're getting an early number, you're beating the number, and then, not so fast. Joe Burrow and his LSU Tigers in that national championship game against Clemson. When that title game was set, I remember the line flipped out. If I'm not mistaken, Clemson was plus 2.5. And there were look-ahead lines where I believe Clemson was supposed to be the favorite. And I just, all year long, never fully gave that LSU Tiger team their due respect. And then Clemson got up early, and then they just got their doors blown off. I actually remember we were doing an in-game live here on this network. I was doing it with Gabe, and we didn't even finish the game. They sent us home. That's how good that LSU Tiger team was. Mark Zino's back with us here. Mark,
sorry about that.
Yeah, hey, listen, it happens. We're live. Where else on this week 0 slate do you feel you're finding some edges?
Western Kentucky probably over for the game. Maybe their team total over. It's a huge number, but neither one of these defenses are really all that impressive. And I think both of these offenses are going to score. I mean, that's a 61.5 screaming number there. But I would trust Western Kentucky to continue to air this thing out and score a ton of points here. it's a home game for them. There's nothing that, would lead me to believe as much as Sam Houston, who's now fully in the FBS ranks here, that would lead me to believe that they aren't going to be able to keep this thing close within the 10 points, but I just think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I'd also lay the 2.5 with Hawaii. As much as Andrew Luck and Frank Reich running Stanford now makes me feel better, I don't know if they're a better product on the field. It's always that game that, when you're going over to Hawaii, that's a tough one. The Hawaii team is better now. I think they returned somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 starters to this team from last year. So I think they have a decided edge there. Stanford may be in an uphill battle.
I'm glad that you like a side on that game because it's the one that I couldn't land on. The others, I had a side, some that, jumped out to me at least enough to get involved. That is a trickier game. Got involved with the props market. Mark, look, we appreciate the help. I'm sure we'll be checking in throughout this college football season.
You got it. Thanks, Kev.
All right, great stuff as always from Mark Zinno. We'll talk to NFL insider Adam Kaplan next. Right here, it's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game Time Decisions is live on a Friday night. Major League Baseball board right now underway in a couple of spots there. The NFL preseason slate in about 15 minutes. You will get Jets, Eagles. You will not be no Jalen Hurts. That's not Sirianni style. Aaron Glenn. I don't know if he's happy enough with the Jets. The reality is the week 3 of the preseason is now the week 4 of the preseason. You are not going to see these guys. But if you want action in the NFL, there's trades and cuts aplenty. So thank goodness we have Adam Kaplan here, a longtime NFL insider, to help us out, figure out what is going on. And Cap, appropriately, You were at Commanders camp this week, and they made what up until this point probably the most noteworthy trade, sending Brian Robinson Jr. to San Francisco, maybe opening up some room in this Niners back. And this is all going to matter here, whether you're a fantasy player, a prop player. Take us through this situation and the thought process.
All right, so yeah, and that's the point, the thought process. Let's look at the Niners situation. So they've had a bunch of running backs get hurt. 3 backups have gotten hurt. Isaac Guerrero, who, by the way, will be McCaffrey's backup, at least that's what their thought process was. He's had a big injury history, okay? Going back to Louisville. Very talented back, explosive, but a lot of injuries. We know about Christian McCaffrey, who they're starting running back's injury history. So they want to be proactive. They got Brian Robinson, a former starting running back for the Washington Commanders, at a bargain basement price because he's on the final year of his deal. The Commanders could not find a team where he could go and start because if they could have got as much as a 4th-round pick. But they couldn't find that team, would bring him in as a starter. So he'll vie to be the backup to McCaffrey. And by the way, he can handle volume. He's just not strong in the pass game. That's why we got to talk about the Commanders here. So when you look at it, they made the choice, okay? They made the choice that Brian Robinson, who they inherited, okay, this front office staff, when they came in, they didn't draft him. Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, he just didn't fit his scheme. He wanted more explosiveness. In comes Ja'Cory or Bill Krosky-Merritt, the 7th-round rookie, who's explosive, Kevin, but I just want to break down the roles for you because for fantasy, this weekend is a huge weekend for fantasy drafts. Just understand what he is and what he isn't. He's not a 3rd down back. That'll be Austin Eckler. Chris Rodriguez, who I saw yesterday, is a big back out of Kentucky. He's been there a couple of years. He's a guy who figures to get some short yardage work. You know, Jane Daniels, the prop of 5.5 touchdowns, actually like the over a little bit here without Brian Robinson, who kind of would have bogarted some goal line carries. But the bottom line is Krosky-Merritt now is explosive, but he's not an every down guy. I would draft him as a flex option if you're in a league where you have 2 running backs in a flex. Draft him as your flex with upside. I think his value, though, is truly in a dynasty league where you keep your players year to year. Let his role grow. But again, he's not going to catch the ball out because that's what Eckler's going to do.
And here's what I'll say, Cap, to the betting side of this all. Week number 1, they play the Giants. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Whether they win or not, they're going to be expected to score a couple of touchdowns in that game. Yeah. Usually it's the running backs who lead the way. Brian Robinson Jr. would have been plus 130 or less, right, to score a touchdown. Maybe the shortest number. Now that Jaden Daniels number gets shorter, is it Rodriguez? Is it Eckler? I think that becomes that question, Cat, week number 1 against the Giants.
It does. And by the way, with Krosky-Merritt, at some point he's going to be their lead back. That's going to happen because he's their most explosive. But we have to remember he's a 7th-round rookie. You got to let it happen. But he has been the story of camp. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez, he's big there. He's a little bit bigger than I anticipated. Big body back, and he'll fit in. But I'll tell you what, Kevin, without Terry McLaurin practicing, he was at practice
Cap,
yesterday.
Can you help us with the McLaurin situation? Because it's quiet.
Yeah. But the good thing, he was there. Now, I know there's some distance they have to make up. I expect them to get a deal done at some point sooner rather than later. I understand there were difference of opinion. As one veteran player agent told me, you just have to meet in the middle. See, they don't have a middle ground yet. Once they hit the middle ground, it gets done with the 24 hours. They need to find that. But, man, and Deebo Samuel looks great, by the way. He's in the best shape he's been in years.
Okay.
But they have no depth at receiver. Noah Brown is going to be one of their top backups. They're ramping him up. He's just not ready yet. So the depth is going to be a problem for the Washington Commanders at the receiver position. Now, they are loaded at tight end. Zach Ertz is back. They've reshaped their offensive line, 2 new tackles. So they're going to protect better. They did a great job of coaching last year. Bobby Johnson, their offensive line coach, did a great job, but it was a smoke and mirror job. They know they had to address it. They did that. They'll have a good defense, Kevin, but I do have an issue with them. They don't have a top-notch pass rusher. That does worry me, Kevin, when you look at the Washington defense. But as you know, that division goes through the Eagles, and they are the clear favorite. There's no question about that at minus 145 in that area.
Kat, just to echo your sentiments, when I was kind of doing my own little personal write-ups on each and every team, one of the notes I put on the Commanders is, man, they really could have used Myles Garrett to not just balk and take the money, because that type of player, who name your edge rusher that is exactly the type of thing that Washington's missing. They're trying their hand with Von Miller. And let's be honest, and Cabby, you have a couple of extra minutes. I'd love to keep you for one more because I want to ask you about it.
Yep.
Even if Micah Parsons gets dealt, and we'll, Cap, you can tell us.
Highly doubt it, but yeah, highly.
He's never getting traded to the NFC East, right, Cap? It's never going to happen.
Yeah, they're not going to trade him. They wouldn't. I know the rumors about Green Bay. Yeah, here's the thing. It's been ugly between Micah and Jerry Jones. And Jerry, of course, with that fake agreement where Micah's like, I didn't agree to anything. And they did talk contract in the spring. But that was a fake agreement. And hey, David Mulgeta was a big-time agent. He wasn't having any part of that. I mean, it's just it's ugly. You always have to ask, why does it have to be this way? All the drama. Jerry doing everyone's interview. It's funny. The one he did with Mike Irvin's interesting. He talked about, we still have 2 franchise tags. Because it's basically a threat. He's trying to create some leverage. It's totally unneeded. And by the way, it's never really a good thing. And I know Mike has been there. There's no question about that. He's having a hold in. But it's not good because what happens is when you're not practicing with a team for 6 to 8 weeks, time is a little bit off. You worry about that. And by the way, as you know, being an Eagles fan, they're at Philly week 1. Not a good thing, but things get done. J.J. Watt's first extension got done 2 days before the season started. So there's time here. Jerry's made it pretty clear they're not trading him, but it's been very ugly. It's gotten personal, and there's really no need for that.
I think it's a great way to put it. Let's have Cap stick around. There's a couple of important quarterback questions. After the break, we get to that here on Game Time Decisions.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. In 5 minutes, we're going to do the full Week 0 college football card involved in each and every one of those games, so excited to get to that. But before we do that, we have NFL insider Adam Kaplan with us here, and I've told this before. Now, the numbers are a little out of whack, but Cat last year during a intense to everyone but him Raiders battle was like, I don't know what's going on here. It's obviously Gardner Minshew. And it was Gardner Minshew. Well, we have this Rattler-Tyler Shuck battle, which is not very sexy, let's be honest. but I think it's very noteworthy, Cap, because I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you know better than me, I think they drafted Tyler Shuck to start Tyler Shuck, as a top 40 draft pick. And Spencer Rattler is going to get the chance to win this job this weekend in preseason. What are you seeing in New Orleans?
Yeah, from everything I've understood, Rattler had taken the lead the last couple of weeks. Tyler Shuck is to me a more talented quarterback. Rattler's not the biggest guy in the world. I saw him at the Senior Bowl 2 years ago, and I thought he was sort of like an upside guy, not the biggest guy in the world, but decent enough athlete, had some arm strength. But he projected to be a backup, and he was drafted in a backup round. So you look at Tyler Shuck, an older player, big injury history, big arm, really good size, older quarterback. He was drafted in what we call starter round, the second round. But he has not performed as well as they would have liked. Now, understand, he's a rookie. It takes time. They made the trade for Vele. It was a really talented player coming over from Denver. It was a late-round pick for them, but really just progressed a lot, very quickly for the Broncos last season. Now they're going to expect him to play a lot. So New Orleans is kind of restocking that receiver position. Taysom Hill is still there. They're a team that's sort of in transition. And if you go by the books, almost all books have them as the worst team in the National Football League. Unsettled quarterback position, not a super talented team. They're kind of in a restart. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
Kamara, an older running back. There's not. It's funny. Even I would go back to when your Eagles dismantled them in Week 3 last year in New Orleans when Vic Fangio brought out that new defensive front. They were never the same.
Yeah. The big Zach Ertz play, Saquon. So here is my problem, Cap, though. And look, Cap and I have been doing this for a couple of years, and he knows I'll call something over maybe a little bit early. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Here's my problem, Cap. You said it. Projected to be easily one of the 3 worst teams in the league. In what world do the New Orleans Saints have a top 3 pick and not take a quarterback? I don't see one. You just wasted a top 40 draft pick. Do you see a world where this team gets a top 3 pick and Kellen Moore doesn't look for a guy?
Well, a couple of things there. First of all, we have to see who's coming out for next year's draft. It just depends. Now, obviously, Arch Manning, you got that situation, but we don't know yet. We won't know until probably Thanksgiving what the quarterback class will look like for 26. But Shuck's going to play this season if he don't win the job. There's no way he won't be on the field at some point. They would love to get a look at him and get an idea on your point. On your question, is they have to evaluate him before they decide what it looks like next year. Because honestly, they've got problems on defense, pass rush issues. They're just when the books universally pick them either bottom 1, 2, or 3, everybody knows they're a bad football team. And it's funny, the Giants, who I love their roster, I really do. But the problem is they have the toughest schedule by far in my grading system. They have the toughest schedule in the National Football League. I don't think it's even close for the Giants.
I agree with a lot of that. I might end up choosing the optimist route on the Giants, which staring in the face of that schedule could be a little risky. Cap, I know I only gave you about 45 seconds, but the Indianapolis Colts situation, are they disappointed in Indy that they had to go to Daniel Jones? I mean, what is the reaction there?
Yeah, in fact, what they did is they signed Jones to push him. They had every belief that Richardson would be the starter. It didn't work. Jones, from my understanding, was clearly better. Like, they could say it was close. My understanding was Jones was clearly better. We've seen him at times play well. We know what happened at the end of his career with the Giants. He was bad. But the bottom line is he is the veteran. Richardson quite has not grown up enough, and that's been a part of it. You know what happened last year with the benching, and it's an absolute nightmare, Kevin, since Andrew Luck retired. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, it has been. It has been a disaster. I just think if you draft one of the rawest quarterback prospects we've ever seen after 15 games, don't give up on him. And yet, here we are with Daniel Jones getting another chance. Cap, appreciate it as always. We get to the Week 0 slate next.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3-wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan #1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 #1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers were playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
College football week 0. I am excited, man. I love me a week 0 slate. Kind of regardless, we have a good one here, though. And I will let you know, I'm not on CFT this year. That's all good. We're handling business on Game Time Decisions and Pro Football Today. Donnie and Lisi are going to have the CFT this season. I will make sure that we have college football covered on Game Time Decisions. I will also shout out Kevin Walsh Show. We'll have it covered there as well, the SportsGrid podcast. So don't you worry. But I wanted to make sure that here tonight on Game Time Decisions, we went through this full slate. Now, I will let you know also, some of the things have moved. Some things are moving. I placed all of these bets today. But, again, things are moving. So let's get to it. Lock in now. And we'll pivot where we need to. We start in the big game, which is Kansas State and Iowa State. Give me Iowa State plus 3.5. I think that these teams are pretty even. I kind of like Iowa State more. The matchup advantage that people give to KSU is the defensive side of the football. They have a star in Austin Romaine in the linebacker room and a strong group up front. I think they're a little bit vulnerable in the secondary. Well, in comes Rocco Becht, where, to me, anyone who's telling me the quarterback edge goes to K-State, I disagree with. I think Becht is better than Avery Johnson, and I understand he lost a pair of 1,000-yard wide receivers who were both top 80 selections in this past NFL draft, and I'm not saying that's nothing. But Rocco Becht is good. The tight end room stays strong. They hit the portal for wide receivers. They bring back 2 productive backs. There's enough there on offense for Becht, and I think the defense can surprise. I think the secondary is all right. They've got at least one guy up front in Dominic Orange, who they trust on the line, and the linebacker room actually returns a lot, including Caleb Bacon, who missed most of last season. They're going to hit you with depth in that group. I'm getting a hook here for a neutral. I think Iowa State is very, very live to win this football game. I'll take the 3.5, which is, of course, key. If you look around the market right now, it's flat 3 or 3.5. The 3.5s are juicier. I don't know if this number ever gets to 4.5 before tomorrow. I'll add this quickly because this is the biggest game, okay? We're going to do our college football playoff predictions next week on Game Time Decisions. We will know the result of this game. To some degree, that is cheating. This will matter. This will make a difference because Iowa State's very much so a consideration for me. But what you are going to get here is a look at how the market is going to move following a big game. One of these teams is going to take a very tough loss tomorrow in Kansas State or Iowa State, and the market will react massively. If you see K-State drop this game to Iowa State, you will see Iowa State not only jump them, but Baylor, Texas Tech. You're going to start to see these teams move quite a bit. Arizona State, Utah, it's going to be a big mover. K-State, though, who's around 5-1 to win it, if they win this game, they may go under 4-1. That's the value of this game here within the Big 12 race. I like Iowa State. We will watch it shake out, though, tomorrow in Ireland. Next up is UNLV Idaho State. My, oh, my. I laid 26.5 today. This number will not stop running. We are up to 30.5 in some spots. 29.5s, 28.5s. People are running to the window on UNLV. Now, good for me for getting the best of the number. I don't know how helpful it is for you because you are now needing this team to win by over 4 touchdowns here. Now, I think they will. The reality for UNLV is they have a QB battle going between Alex Orji of Michigan, the danger man, my guy, and Calandria coming from Virginia. Completely different. I'm hoping Orji goes first, runs it, up-tempo, they score a ton, and then Calandria in the second half, instead of stopping the clock, is throwing it all over for big plays and lighting up Idaho State. One of the other things that convinced me to get involved with UNLV, where I think the quarterback battle is an advantage, is Dan Mullen's track record at Florida in these beat-up spots. Won them all. 40, 45, 47, dominant. Consistently, that's what I think we see here from Dan Mullen, making the debut for him now, taking over a running Rebs team that last year were in the race when we talk about the college football playoff. If they would have upset Boise in the Mountain West Championship game, it could have been them. That's legit. That's very legit. So for Mullen, expectations are there. I think he answers them. Now, look, I don't think they eke out the 28 win, but you want to get the best of the number. I'm not saying run the other way, bet Idaho State. Maybe get creative, that 48.5 UNLV team total, and hope it's 49. I think they could get to 56. Maybe you see what the player props market tries to tell you, but I did lay that 26.5. If you can get that flat 28, go get it. Go get it. I think they win this game by 4 touchdowns. I think it's a 30-point win for UNLV. Kansas, Fresno State. I love the Jayhawks here. I really do. Kansas is a team I was out on last year because I didn't like that they didn't play home games. They were rebuilding their stadium. They were playing at Arrowhead. And this team was off early. They found a rhythm. They played 4 consecutive games against 4 of the best teams in the Big 12. 1 loss by 2 and 3 victories. And back comes Jalen Daniels, who was seen as one of the best players in the Big 12 entering last season. Now, he didn't meet those expectations, but it's the same player with another year of experience under his belt and a team that will understand they can't get off to a slow start. They were 1-5 last year, and that slow start cost them bowl eligibility. Well, I think KU is going to want to do a lot more than that, and they are at home in Lawrence for the first time since November of 2023. They haven't won a home game since they beat Oklahoma in a Big 12 game in October of 2023. And that cost me some money, quite frankly, on some OU futures that year. Neither here nor there. On the other side for Fresno, E.J. Warner. Great name, bad player. Guarantee you he throws an interception, probably throws 2. Guarantee you he throws an interception. Jayhawks defense to score 5-1. Why not get a taste? I am not buying this Fresno defense. I am not buying. Oh, Matt Entz is here. Look how good he was at North Dakota State. They're all great at North Dakota State. First year gone, they win a natty. He was not as good as Chris Kleiman, who he took over for. Give me KU. Give me Sam Houston State. Whoa, these Bearcats are speaking my language. If I'm going to have to nail down just one best bet, it's going to be Sam Houston. Now, here's the story. Numbers moving, right? That Kansas number's popping at 14 in some spots. I laid 13.5. Sam Houston in one spot, 10.5, 10.5, 10, 10. We see a 9.5. Take the 10.5 with Sam Houston now, because the sweet name of Bailey Zappi is being slandered. A couple of years ago, Western Kentucky went out there, brought in Zappi, the OC from Houston Baptist, and they lit college football on fire. Zappi threw 60 touchdowns. He's now entering his fourth year in the NFL. In comes Maverick McKeever from Abilene Christian and his OC. And people are like, they're going to try and do the same thing. That's great. I'm going to try and lose weight this year. The trends say it's not going to happen. That's the reality of it. Bailey Zappi, in the 4 games that he played in 2020, threw 15 touchdowns to 1 pick. You want to extrapolate that over 12? That's 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 5,500 yards. Nearly 9 yards per pass attempt. Respectfully, Maverick McKeever, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. I think Sam Houston's being undersold here. I think this team can pull off an in-conference upset. Hawaii-Stanford is the trickiest game on this board. I went to the props market. I think Poffley Ashlock's actually the number 1 wide receiver on Hawaii. I'll take his over 64.5 receiving yards. Frank Reich is there to run the ball. Give me Micah Ford, who had 100 yards against Clemson, for half of that against Hawaii as the Stanford back. Week 0 college football. Could you believe it? Where else would you want to be? We'll be right back. Game Time Decisions.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game Time Decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers are playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's update the Major League Baseball board here on Game Time Decisions. Nerfy comes in, Yankees, Red Sox. We know that there were runs early in Nats, Phillies, with that 3-run Nationals home run, but the Phils did grab one back off of a Trey Turner RBI. It was on a fielder's choice, though, so no base knock there for Turner. 5-0 early Pittsburgh. They've jumped all over Sentenzella again. For anyone that doesn't remember, Sentenzella was the starter in the 17-16 outrageous game where he only didn't even last the first inning. He had 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 inning there against this Pirates team. They are on him again. Scoreless right now through 2 in Baltimore. Houston. Runs coming in KC, Detroit, with the Royals scoring off of an RBI single from Bobby Witt Jr. Under's doing fine. KC can get some runs. That's good for our guy, Chris. We're happy with that. Toronto made it a Yurfie in their matchup with the Miami Marlins. In the first inning, they plated 3. Mets scored first against the Braves. They did it in the second inning, though. They're trying to see if they can grab a couple of more here. They flipped the favorites in that matchup. Trending, we'll see here. It was a leadoff single by Simpson. He's now moved over to second. So in scoring position, could be Nerfy, could be Yurfie in the bottom there. And we're underway in Chicago, Minnesota. So that is where we are at right now on your baseball board. There are 3 games of the WNBA tonight. Nothing really screamed my name. Nothing for me to get involved with there. But it's the Fever right now up early on the Lynx, who are playing on a back-to-back. It's the Wings and the Storm. And then you have the Mercury and the Valkyries. Phoenix playing on a back-to-back against the Golden State group that just continues to impress, man. They're going to end up winning about 20 or so games here this season. I know they've dropped 2 straight, but they're going to be live in this one tonight against the Mercury, undoubtedly. NFL preseason action has started as well between the Jets and the Eagles. Still scoreless early, nothing doing at the first, 4 or so minutes of that one. I want to reset the picks that are still to come. We're trying to get our guy Brady Cannon on, a couple of technical difficulties. But if we can, we'll take our last 5 minutes to get a tour championship update from Brady. So let me get all of the picks on the board for everyone to make sure that everything is all set up, okay? We'll start with the NFL preseason. There's 2 games at 8 and then an 8:20 Chiefs-Bears. I'm not on the Chiefs-Bears game. I'm interested. You've got Caleb playing. You've got Mahomes playing, which is nice to see. Freshly paid Tyson Badgett probably is going to get involved there. That's why the total's so high. I'm backing out. I am playing the over in Titans-Vikings. I expect some Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward makes sure he gets on the board with a touchdown. I think it sets the tone there in that one. Give me the over 36.5. The Vikings have enough on their side of the field, I think, to bring some points. And I laid 2.5 with Joe Milton and the Dallas Cowboys. I was expecting a flashier preseason from Milton. It's been a bit of a struggle, but I think he can connect here at home. Only 2.5. Remember, this is a Dallas team who were road favorites to start preseason action against the Rams. And I know it might be ridiculous, and I know that off the top of my head, but we've been betting preseason. We've been enjoying betting preseason. We're going to keep on betting preseason. We're going to bet it with the Dallas Cowboys at 2.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Major League Baseball, I'm on 4. Only one has started, which is that under 8.5 Tigers-Royals. My favorite tonight is going to be the over, the run line in Rangers-Guardians with Nathan Eovaldi laying the run at half, plus 136. I want a chance to back Eovaldi to be great. And you get other outs, right? Ciccone can get absolutely smashed here by the Rangers lineup. He's not very good. He's been struggling of late. You could argue it's a bounce-back spot. I don't think so. Here's the deal. Even if he bounces back, I think Eovaldi's going to be very good. I think it's 1 earned run or less. So I'm getting a plus 136 shot with a couple of outs on the Rangers. I like that. I like the under 9 in D-backs Reds. Really good bounce-back spot for Ryan Nelson. Zach Littell on the other side of it for since he's strong and it's been solid. I'm happy to play. Like, for me, you see that strong Arizona number at minus 135. They think Ryan Nelson's going to be good. Why is this total a 9? Should be an 8. I think I'll play that under 9, and I'm on the Padres money line. Super important game in the NL West race and super important series. If the Padres win this, they're evened up. Padres can win this series, they will be in first place coming out of it. And they will be able to recoup a lot of the damage that they've already allowed to happen. You know, this is a group who have lost 8 of 10 against the Dodgers this year. We've talked about it already on the show. To have that be true, to think about what the Dodgers' expectations were this season and still be right there. You just need to win a series in your building, and you are close to entering September in first place in the NL West. It does not get better than that. Remember, this is a Padres team who look like they might be sellers at the deadline. Then people thought they were going to kind of do both, buy and sell. They just bought. It could pay off for them. We'll see if it pays off for them. What did I miss here? What did I miss for the people? We were supposed to do a little first inning Friday. It's on me, 100% blame Pie, which would have been a winner if you did play it. Phillies, Nats, Pirates, Rockies. Look, sometimes Chris gets rambunctious and wants to be at the window, and he kind of forced my hand here, to be honest with you. And then I was like, let's do the Mets, and then the Mets would have been a loser, so we backed away. We saved you. We saved ourselves, I think, ultimately on that. What Chris does want to give the people, though, and you will see Chris, of course, not just here, but he's going to, be a part of some of the stuff that I'll do on the Kevin Walsh show with the picks. He loves betting the college football, loves betting the NFL. He wanted to give you his card for week 0. I said, why not? Let's get in the mix here. He's been hot on Carson Hansen anytime touchdown, -115 in Dublin. I'll call it for him right now. That's his best bet. That's one he's been talking about the most. He does not mind Jalen Daniels to score for KU at even money. I don't mind that at all. I think it's a big game for him. I think they're going to smash Fresno. I think it is just such a spot at home in Lawrence, new stadium, raucous environment. But he's on Fresno over the 7.5. It's not a super thread the needle spot, but it's not like I'm rooting for Fresno offense because you guys know I'm on Kansas. He's going to back E.J. Warner, former Temple Owl. Guarantee you he throws interception. I guarantee you he throws an interception against Kansas. Maybe a pick 6. We'll reset that card. Hopefully we can get Brady in here before we send you off into the weekend and on to In-Game Live. Quick break, right back. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy. And we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game Time Decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan number 1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 number 1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course, we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers were playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions is back right here on SportsGrid, and we have Brady Cannon, which is fantastic. Of course, Brady Cannon, you know him here on the SportsGrid Network, does an excellent job covering the golf, but of course, getting you ready for the football contest show, so make sure you are locked in on all of that. And Brady, I am so happy that we do have the chance to talk, even if it's just for a little bit, because look who is at the top of this leaderboard. Sorry, Russell Henley, you are not the story. Tommy Fleetwood. I'm finding myself rooting the guy in, Brady. What are you thinking?
Oh, I can't wait, man. Come on, Tommy. Get it done, baby.
I'm on him pre-tournament at 14-1. I'm also on Russell Henley at 20-1. My third selection, JJ Spawn, he's out of it. I think he's in dead last. He might be in 30th place, something like that. But I've got two guys right there at the top. They're almost identical in the stats, Kevin. 15th off the tee for Fleetwood, 14th for Henley, second on approach for Fleetwood, 6th in strokes gained approach for Henley. Henley's number 1 in strokes gained putting, Fleetwood number 2. Henley number 1 in driving accuracy, Fleetwood number 2, and they're both 6th in this field in greens in regulation. They're striping the irons, they're nailing every fairway, and they're making a lot of putts. That's a pretty good formula. You just hope that that putter can stay hot. Now, the course is playing pretty easy. These guys are already out to 13 under par. We're supposed to get rain overnight, some rain in the morning tomorrow, kind of throughout the day, on and off. Unfortunately, for everybody else, I don't know if you're going to be able to catch the front runners, because if it's not hard, they're not going to make many mistakes. And, even if a guy like Rory or Scotty shoots a 62 or something like that, Henley and Fleetwood are likely to go fairly low as well, which they've done already for a couple days in a row. And so I'm really hoping that it is those two guys in the end, because obviously I've got pre-tournament tickets on each of them. And I think we're all rooting for Tommy. This would be a wonderful way to cap off the season and get Mr. Fleetwood a victory on American soil.
Are you seeing anyone, though, on the live board that looks interesting, especially for someone like yourself? If you head into the last day with these two at the top, you'll have some room if you wanted to add on top of that. Who outside of the Fleetwood and Henley looks interesting to you?
Well, Cam Young obviously is a threat. Now, he is number 1 in this field right now in strokes gained approach and number 5 for putting. But otherwise, he's a little bit squirrely. 19th off the tee, 18th for driving accuracy. Remember, there's only 30 guys in the field. He's in the bottom half for strokes gained off the tee, the bottom half for driving accuracy, and 16th, again, in the bottom half for greens in regulation. So it's a little bit shaky despite the good score. And he posted a low number today, so you wonder if he's going to come back with that. I think the most interesting guy right now, and again, I think Fleetwood and Henley are very good bets at plus 220, plus 240, whatever it is. I don't think those are bad prices at all. I think they have a distinct advantage here. The one guy I like kind of laying in the weeds there is Patrick Cantlay. Okay. He's at 12-1, second in strokes gained off the tee, third in strokes gained approach, 6th in greens in regulation, 2nd in driving accuracy. He's absolutely peering the ball, but he can't putt. He's 11th in putting, so he's just kind of neutral. If the putter is red hot for Fleetwood and Henley, if the putter heats up for Cantlay, he's going to be a factor. What concerns me, he typically plays his best in the Northeast and in California on different types of grass surfaces. He's typically not a Florida, Bermuda, Southern grass type player. And so maybe that's why the putter is not working for him swimmingly so far this week. But just looking at the numbers, he would be the guy that probably has a lot of upside.
Now, I know I didn't ask you about Scotty. He sits at 5-1. We know he's going to lurk. But and maybe I'm way off here, Raiden. I know we only have about 45 seconds or so. But if Scotty is 5, I think Rory actually, maybe for the first time I'll ever say this, has value at 25-1. Only a shot off of that. That's a big number to me.
Yeah, no, Rory, I think, at least today, Rory played better than Scotty. Scotty right now is 17th in this field. That is below average. That's in the lower half. 17th in this field for strokes gained approach. He's the best iron player in the world, and he's in the bottom half of this field. And we saw that last Sunday. Even when he won, his irons were not sharp when he was able to overtake Robert McIntyre at the BMW. So something's a little off with Scotty's irons right now. And yeah, he's Scotty. Nothing will surprise me, but I don't really want to back him. I'm with you. I'd probably rather go the route of Rory, but they may just be too far behind if this course is playing easy.
Yeah, certainly possible. Brady, we appreciate it as always. Quickly, a reminder, the Week 0 college football card. Cyclones plus 3.5, UNLV Lane 26.5, Kansas minus 13.5, plus 10.5, Sam Houston State. Mike Ford over 50.5 rushing yards, Copley Ashlong over 64.5 receiving yards. We'll see ya.
every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here.